Hello everyone, so this is the Tableau data visualization that we will be replicating, and what I'm looking at through this data visualization is Beyonce's awards and what stands out about the awards Beyonce has won and been nominated for throughout her career. So within this data visualization, we have an article which you can access by tapping the image, which is this article up here. We have a filter of awards by album, and if you press the album, the graphs will move accordingly. We have a bar chart that represents awards by category, a slightly different bar chart that represents the awards won and awards nominated for, and it's color coded by the award type. We also have a bubble chart of awards by type. And lastly, we have awards by year. So let's get into replicating this. So you want to start with your Tableau app open. And the first thing you want to do is connect to data. As always, you want to pick an Excel file. You're going to use the data interpreter. And then you want to make sure that all of your titles and categories match up with what the computer is reading them as. So most of these match up, but year, I'm going to change that. I'm going to rename it to just year. And then also I'm going to make it a string rather than numbers that the computer thinks can be averaged or subtracted. So let's start our first worksheet. And this is a list of things that I do when I create a visualization on a worksheet. So the first thing you want to do is title the worksheet on the bottom tab right here. And we're going to start with the awards by category, visual. So great. We're going to center this, and then it's done. And after we've titled it, we're going to drag and drop our categories and measurements. So award category, column, measure values, rows. That's simple, just to drag and drop. So now that we have our graph started, we're going to want to add our details and add our labels. So for this, one of the main details is that it's flipped. So let's flip it. Let's put it in descending order so we can go from most to least. Great. But we also want to add the result, whether Beyonce was nominated or whether Beyonce won. Let's add that to our color. Great. So now we see, for video of the year, we see that Beyonce was nominated more than she won, which is normal. But I don't really like this yellow, so let's change that. Edit colors. You don't have to keep it as the automatic. You can change that. So let's say we want one is blue, nominated as purple. And let's say we want to stick with those blues and purples. From there, it's all your personal choice. You don't want to pick any two colors that are close or too close to each other, especially if they're largely used, like nominated and one are largely used in this graph, so you wouldn't make them both navy blue. But with blue and purple, you can get a pretty good distinction. So let's press OK. Great, so we have it here. But I want to put something between these two bars so that people know they're separate, not just color coded. So we're going to go back to edit colors. We're going to look at border. Let's make our border white. A white border is going to stick out on colors that are a little bit darker. And let's say we really don't want the white background altogether. Now we're at the point where we're adding shading to the worksheet. Go to format, shading. Let's make it this blue color. I think I want a little darker than that. I like that blue. But now our words are a little hard to see, so we're also going to take it back to format. We're going to go to font. Let's change our title to this light blue here. Great, now it's popping up. We're going to change our header to the light blue as well. And now we can see all of the categories very, very well. And we're going to repeat that for each and every visualization. And then at the end, we're going to add a description of the chart, but you're going to make it a little bit smaller than the title. So for awards by category, this chart represents the categories Beyonce's nominations and awards have been in, and is color-coded by wins, nominations, and runner-ups. So let's copy that, paste it here. Let's make sure that it's also in our blue color that we picked. And there it is. Looks like it's bold. Doesn't have to be bold, but we want our sheet name to match. So great, there it is. Let's do our next chart. We have awards won and awards nominated for. So we titled it. First thing we want to do is title it at the bottom tab so it translates to the top. Then we want to center it. Great. Now we're going to drag and drop. So result 1, nominated, measure values. So the main thing that we see is nominated and won. So let's exclude the ones that don't really make a big change in what we see. Exclude. Great. And we want to sort nominated versus wins by color. And we want to do that by the award type. So we have award type. Let's drag and drop our color here. Great. And the chart is looking a little small, so let's widen it up a bit. Great. So let's continue to play with our details and add colors. So next what you're going to do is you're going to go to color, edit colors. Let's play with the blue and purple. So you can pick any ones you want. You can go to assign palette. And I have blue here, but I want to add some purples as well. So I'm just going to pick random ones and make them purple. There's really no method to this. You kind of just feel it out and see which ones you want to change. And then just go at it. And then press OK. And now we have our awards won and awards nominated for, and it's color coded by award type. So we've edited our colors, but now we want to add shading to our worksheet. Gonna go to Format, Shading. Great. Now the color that you used most recently for your worksheet is also going to appear as the top color. So you don't have to search for it once you use it once. But now our text is a little bit hard to see. So we're going to go to Font, pick that same light blue. You want consistency across the board with your worksheet. But yeah, so we start off with our title, then we drag and drop our categories, then we add details and labels, then we edit colors and add shading to the worksheet. The last thing I want to do, add our description so that when people read this chart, they know what to expect. I have these typed up just so that I don't have to go through and type them all for this video. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to put the text there. I like to put the text a little bit smaller than the title because it's an explanation, but it's not the title itself. We want to ensure that it's in our light blue for consistency, and then OK. And let's bolden everything just to make sure that the title is consistent with our description. Great. So there is our awards by category, awards won, and awards nominated for. Now let's do our awards by type. So we're going to, first thing first, title the worksheet at the bottom tab. Awards by type. Great. Now it's up here. We're going to center that really quickly. Great. And then we're going to drag and drop, drag and drop. So we're going to go award type, measure values. Now, because the other charts we did were bar graphs, we didn't have to take this step, but because this is not a bar graph, this is the bubble chart that we see right here. What we're going to have to do is press show me, and then it'll allow us to press the bubble chart. Great, so we have the bubble chart. I do want it to be labeled by its award type, so I just want to make sure that all the bubbles show that. This must be null. I don't like null because it doesn't really tell you anything about the data. It just basically represents data places where there was no data entered. So let's exclude null. Great. Now we have our awards by type. And let's add so we already have our colors added here. Let's add our shading to this worksheet. You're going to go to shading. Like I said, the color that you use most is going to be your first color there. Perfect. We want to change our text as well. Let's go to font. We want to make it this light blue. For the bubble chart, there's really not a lot of changing that you have to do. You can just change the title and that's usually it. The bar graphs are a little bit different, but the bubble chart, that's it. That's all you usually have to do. But now we want to add our description. Double click the title. This bubble pops up. Make sure you want to make it 12-point font. You want it to be a little bit smaller than the title because it's a description, but it's not the title itself. Make it that light blue. Press OK. We want to make sure it's all bold. Keep it consistent. All right. So there's your awards by type. And let's make one more worksheet here. Awards by year. And we're going to do the same thing. First thing you want to do is title your worksheet on the bottom tab. Great. You're going to center that. And this one's a little self-explanatory. You're going to take your year. If it's doing that, if it's not seeing years as a category, you're going to go back to your data source and you are going to edit that. You want your year to be in blue, not in green. So you can just drag the year. Let's go back. Drag it up. Put it here. Drag it to column. Put measure values. Great. Automatically, it's a bar chart. So once you dragged and dropped, you're going to add your details and labels. We didn't have any details and labels for this particular bar chart. Give it a minute, it'll load. We don't have any particular details for this bar chart. It's just count and years. So we can skip that step. But now we're going to make sure that we have it flipped. Flip it like that. Put it in descending order. And then we're going to edit our colors. So you're going to go to color, more colors. And we want our counts to also be impacted by color. I know that sounds really simple, but let me show you why it matters that we do it like that. When you edit your colors, if you want this gradient look, you have to drag and drop your measure values into the colors. There it is. It's all one color. If you want it to be gradient, you're going to have to drop measure values into color. And that's how you get it to be like that. So you're going to go to colors, edit color. It's automatic. It doesn't have to be. If we want our purple and blue to be gradient and it doesn't come like that on any of these, we're going to go to custom diverging. So let's pick our first color. You can just pick a purple, put it in the purple area, and then just see how you feel from there. I like that purple, and I already like our blue. So let's put it like that. Great. So now we have it. It's gradient. It's in descending order. It's starting to look like what we have. But the next thing we need to do is add our shading to the worksheet. So you're going to go to Format, Shading. When you hit the worksheet, the first color is the one that you most recently used. And then we want to make sure our text matches that. So we're going to go to Font, Make sure our title's in that baby blue, but because this is a bar graph, we also have to edit header. And you know what? Because we want this to also be in that blue, let's go to worksheet, make that blue too. Great. Just so that everything for sure pops up. And last but not least, we're going to add our description. You want a description so that the readers understand the point of this particular graph in your visualization. So let's double click that. Make sure it's 12-point font. We want it a little bit smaller than the title. We're going to paste that in there. Make sure the color is consistent. Let's embolden both the title and the description. And there it is. And now we have our 4 charts. Awards by category, awards won and awards nominated for, awards by type, and awards by year. Stay tuned for the next video.